Hello, we're doing more tips, this time on Slay the Spire. So, tip 1, what to choose at the whale. I would always keep your starting relic, except for when using the defect. The reason I wouldn't necessarily keep it for the defect is because it channels lightning, it sort of forces you into a particular playstyle, and so by having a different relic here, it gives you a bit more freedom later. Otherwise, I would pick any option that removes a card from your deck, but other than that, whatever you want to pick. Tip 2, plan your routes. I always scroll to the top of the screen and plan the route backwards. I don't know why. It works with mazes, and my brain says it works here. My priority list for things I want to hit, merchants, top priority, rest sites, a second priority, and then mystery sites are a third priority. So first of all, the reason elites aren't on my priority list, for Act 1 this is, in future they will be, but in Act 1, your deck is far too weak to get through it well. It's a bit of a risk, and even if you do get through it, you will lose a lot of health to do it. So the reason my merchant is priority 1 is you want to reduce your deck to make it as small as possible. Decks win games, relics don't. It's kind of that simple. So you want to hit every merchant stop and get a bit lucky with the question marks so you can really get that deck as small as possible. You want to keep your deck within multiples of 5 because of how the shuffling works. So if you start with the Ironclad, you're going to start with 10 cards, which is good. So every time you remove a card, you can afford to regain 1 card. But I think for all the other decks, you start with 12, which is a big mistake. They should change that so every deck has a starting hand, or a starting deck of 10. It's a major disadvantage for everyone who isn't the Ironclad. So yeah, both merchants and question marks give you the opportunity to remove cards. Question marks won't always be good. They'll sometimes be bad, and they'll sometimes just be regular enemies, but that's fine because you're going to hit regular enemies as you go through anyway. The reason rest stops are my number 2 priority is 1, most classes can't heal, so they're extremely important. But number 2, if you don't need to heal, you can upgrade a card. And tip 3 is pretty simply use your starting relic to your advantage. Ironclad allows you to heal 6 health, so don't be worried to take a few points of damage to get a serious big damage turn off, for instance. And the Silent has, I believe, 2 additional cards on your first turn. So maybe utilize a couple power cards because the chance of you getting them in round 1 is increased. Tip, I've already lost count, but this is really what the whole game comes down to, is building a good deck. To do this, 1, you obviously need to remove strikes and defends, and basically all your initial cards as quickly as possible, which I've already talked about. But number 2 is adding the right cards. So what I tend to do is, in my head, I have a list of, my S tier cards, and then, S tier, A tier, and B tier. And if I see an S tier or an A tier card come up relatively soon, I'll pick it up, and then I'll build the whole deck around that, because you don't have much time to waste. So you've really got to just gamble on the first good card you see and then go all in on it, really. Maybe if a couple turns or a couple floors later there's an even better card, you've got time to readjust. But yeah, there's a lot of risk versus reward in this game, so I'd go for it. As far as what the best cards are, I don't know the best way to do this. I will leave a few of my favourite cards for each class in the description. Otherwise, I'll have a look online. I'm sure someone's made a tier list for cards. I'm sure that exists out there somewhere. Tip, the one after the last one. Know your opponent. This and knowing which cards are good really all comes down to just playing the game and using your experience. A lot of the time, the game will tell you when you hover over the character what effects they can do, but a lot of the time it will just say a negative effect will be placed upon you. So for these situations, either experience, remember when it happens for next time, or I'm sure you can Google it if you want to know right in the moment what is happening, and then adjust your strategy based on their effects and statuses. Tip, oh my god, I lost count before, like 5. Save your best potions for boss fights. Boss fights are always going to be really difficult, so if you've got a potion that can, heal 30% of your health, or I think it's Relic that gains 1 strength per turn. Relic is an incredible final boss potion. Because the final boss is going to go on for a lot of turns, that gives that Relic potion a lot of time to really buff up. And as a bonus tip, if you're on Act 3, since you're on the last act, you're not going to have money for much longer. So the last merchant you visit before the final boss, spend all your money. If you've only got like 40 coins left, spend it on a potion. Like, you don't get to keep the money, so you may as well get rid of it, and you never know when a potion's going to come in handy. I think that's all the tips I've got. This game really comes down to a lot of trial and error, experience, see what sort of, see how you like to play and learn what the enemies are going to do. If anyone has any questions, comment below, but yeah, I think that's really what it all comes down to. Have a great day.